Yesterday, my 18-year-old daughter asked me how I contacted my friends before there was social media or cell phones. She just couldn't quite get her arms around the idea of what life was like before all this technology, or how teenagers survive without instant access to their peer group. Sometimes, when I'm chatting with a high school friend on Facebook or communicating with a colleague on LinkedIn, I wonder this myself. However, there's a difference between using technology to enhance our lives and it becoming a substitute for the real world. On today's episode, you'll meet Jenelle Potter, a 30-year-old woman who spent hours online each day forming relationships, developing different personas, and manipulating others. Today's story is an extreme testament to what can happen when an online feud gets carried over into real life. Founded in the late 17th century, the small town of Mountain City, Tennessee is home to only 2,500 residents, but it has some interesting history. Explorer Daniel Boone passed through here in 1769 on his way to Kentucky. In May 1925, Mountain City was the site of the first ever Mountain City Fiddlers Convention, a landmark event in the modern history of Appalachian music. Today, take a peek at the local newspaper, the Tomahawk, and you'll see stories like the front page headline congratulating retiring circulation manager Wayne Berry for delivering over 1 million issues. It's a place where doors are left unlocked and people are friendly. In Mountain City, everyone knows everyone else and their families too. So when 36-year-old Billy Clay Payne and his 23-year-old fiancée, Billie Jean Hayworth, were found murdered in their home, it sent shockwaves through the small community. First, because the nature of the crime was so brutal, and second, because this small town simply wasn't the type of place where these things happen. The couple was found by a neighbor on January 31st, 2012, who opened an unlocked door when he heard the wails of a crying baby and no adults answered his call to see if anyone was home. Even those gut-wrenching sounds could not prepare him for the scene he found inside. Both Billy and his soon-to-be wife were shot in the head and laying in a pool of their own blood. Billy's throat had also been slashed. Miraculously unharmed, their 7-month-old son Tyler was laying in his mother's cold arms covered in her blood. It was clear from the crime scene that his mother had been holding him at the time of her death. The police were initially stumped. Who could possibly shoot a young mother while she was cradling her child? And how could anyone leave the baby alone in a house with his parents' dead bodies? They knew they were looking for someone cold enough to shoot a young mother, but there was no physical evidence left at the scene. No DNA, no bullet casings, no fingerprints. The residents of this small town were devastated. Most everyone knew Billy as a kind and thoughtful man. The couple was well liked, soon to be married, and thrilled to be new parents to their young son Tyler. But not everyone got along. Detectives soon found out that Billy and Billie Jean had had a falling out with Billy's former friend, 31-year-old Jenelle Potter. The Potters, Jenelle and her parents, Barbara and Marvin Buddy, had moved to Mountain City from Pennsylvania in 2004. But according to local gossip, had never really fit in. Over the past several months, there had apparently been some sort of a Facebook war between Billy, Billie Jean, and Jenelle, though Jenelle was still close friends with Billy's cousin, Jamie Curd. In fact, detectives soon discovered that Jenelle and Jamie were dating, though they were hiding their relationship from her parents. So the day after Billy and Billie Jean's bodies were discovered, the detectives paid the Potters a visit. Jenelle's parents described her as a sheltered young woman who had the emotional and mental capacity of a 9 or 10-year-old. Jenelle had been diagnosed with learning disabilities and diabetes. Her parents were so protective of her that Jenelle had almost no friends and spent almost all of her time on the computer, socializing through Facebook and other social media. That is, until Jenelle met Billy Payne's sister, Tracy Greenwell. Tracy worked at the local pharmacy and met Jenelle one day when she came in to pick up a prescription. Tracy felt sorry for Jenelle because of all of her problems. She seemed lonely and stuck in her house all day. So she invited Jenelle to her family's home, where Jenelle met Tracy's brother, Billy. Billy was charming and thoughtful. He was friendly and outgoing, and Jenelle and Billy became fast friends. Most people could see that Jenelle secretly had a crush on Billy. Around the same time, Tracy introduced Jenelle to her cousin, Jamie Curd. Jamie fell hard for Jenelle, and in spite of Janelle's feelings for Billy, the two of them began dating. Although Janelle's parents didn't know about their daughter's romantic relationship with Jamie, he spent time at Janelle's home and became friends with her father. Everything was fine until Billy started dating Billie Jean Hayworth. Jenelle told detectives that Billie Jean had been cyberbullying her for months. She claimed the couple had said horrible things to her and made comments like she was too pretty to live. Janelle's mother, Barbara, backed her up, adding that they had even hacked into Janelle's accounts. Jenelle said that the online war had escalated so badly that Jenelle had deleted Billy and Billie Jean from her Facebook, and Jamie had even gotten into a physical fight with his cousin Billy over it. Police brought Jamie Curd in for questioning. It didn't take long for them to figure out that Curd was lying, especially after he failed a polygraph. Eventually, Curd told them that Buddy Potter, Janelle's father, had killed the couple in order to protect his daughter. Buddy soon confessed to the crime. It might have been an open and shut case, except for a strange statement Jamie Curd made at the end of his interrogation. He asked the detectives if the CIA was there. When Buddy Potter asked the same question during his confession, detectives began digging. They began investigating Janelle's claims that she had been cyberbullied by Billy and Billie Jean. They also executed a search warrant on the Potters' home. During their investigation, detectives found absolutely no evidence that either Billy Payne or his fiancée had ever cyberbullied Jenelle. They had never hacked into her account. But what was clear was that Jenelle had often told people that the couple was out to get her. They also found hundreds of shredded documents at the Potters' house that, when pieced together, contained emails between Janelle's mother, Barbara, and an individual calling himself Chris and claiming to be with the CIA. In his emails, Chris had told Barbara he was investigating Billy, whom he claimed was a drug dealer, and Billie Jean, whom he described as a prostitute. Chris claimed that the couple was dangerous and that they were planning to kidnap, rape, and murder her daughter. Not only did Chris convince Barbara that her daughter was in imminent danger, he told her it was their duty to protect Jenelle and that the CIA would back up any action they took to keep Jenelle safe. Jamie Curd had also been texting with someone named Chris, who was with the CIA. Chris had also told Jamie that his job was to protect Jenelle. There was only one small problem. Chris, the CIA agent, didn't actually exist. Detectives found that the IP address that Chris, the CIA agent, was using when he sent his emails was actually from their family computer. The photos that the fictitious CIA Chris was using to create his online persona actually belonged to another Chris, a former classmate of Janelle's who had no knowledge of the situation. The emails were coming from Jenelle herself. She had catfished her family into committing murder. During the 2015 trial, prosecutors were able to prove that the language, misspellings, and grammatical errors in Chris's emails perfectly matched Janelle's usual language pattern. They clearly showed that Jenelle had been behind the story of the CIA agent. While there had been some friction between Jenelle and Billie Jean, much of the conflict had been exaggerated or made up by Jenelle. Jamie Curd provided evidence and was given a plea deal for his part in the murders. He was given a 25-year sentence and is already eligible for parole, though it has so far been denied. Marvin Buddy Potter was found guilty and sentenced to 2 life sentences in jail for the murders of Billy Payne and Billie Jean Hayworth in October of 2013. While her parents and lawyers insisted that Jenelle had the mental capacity of a child, it could not have created a fictional persona or a complicated conspiracy for murder. There was clear evidence that she had. Both Jenelle and her mother were convicted and given life sentences. Even today, Jenelle insists that Chris was a real person and that she had no part in the murders. 3 people, Buddy, Barbara, and Jamie, are now in prison, 2 of them for life, because they were catfished by Jenelle. While Jenelle's version of catfishing, a term we use when someone adopts a fake identity to lure a person into doing something for them, was extreme, the amount of interpersonal deception online is alarming. 1 out of every 2 people lie or exaggerate part of their dating profile, and 51% of online daters are already in a dating relationship. Please look for our upcoming segment on catfishing in our featured crime analysis section. We'll talk about how to avoid being catfished and what you should do if you think you've been contacted by one. Thank you for watching this episode of Unmasking a Murderer. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, I'd be thrilled if you'd consider it. Please tell your friends about us, and if there's a particular case you'd like us to cover, please let us know. Until next time, when we try to unmask another murderer.